Hi, Tia. Welcome to the Power Talk Show powered by Business Talks Weekly. Thank you so much for accepting an invitation and joining our channel today. Before we start a conversation, can we run through your professional background and what led to the creation of MetaFlex Gloves?
Yeah, thank you, Naveen. I'm really happy to be here. So I'm Téa Phillips. I'm the founder at ACS Innovations and the inventor of the MetaFlex Glove, and this is MetaFlex. MetaFlex is something that I invented while I was studying mechanical engineering at Tennessee Tech University. And for the purpose of helping people manage arthritis at home, we found that a lot of people have arthritis and can't afford to go see a doctor, whether that be from taking time off work or the cost of the copay or the bill that comes after you see the doctor. We're in America, so healthcare is very expensive here. And upon researching what helps with arthritis, other than drugs like opioids, which are commonly taken for chronic conditions like arthritis, compression is good for pain and improving circulation and reducing stiffness. And then grip strengthening helps to strengthen the muscles, so you're relieving the pressure on the joints when you're having to like use your hand and be strong with it. So grip strengthening and compression are two of the most recommended therapies. Compression's easy, you wear a glove, but strengthening, you had to remember to do 15 reps on each hand and squeeze, and it's time consuming and it's burdensome and people weren't doing it. So we made a wearable grip strengthener. So it's this compression glove with a really gentle compression and then stretchy resistance bands that run the length of the fingers. And they are adjustable with this Velcro strip that runs the length of the tendon. So it's adjustable for each finger, and you can set the bands wherever feels most comfortable for you and each finger wherever you need. And it works to extend the fingers. So as you're going about your day grabbing things, you're strengthening. When you're at rest, you're stretching, always a gentle compression. So we made, the first wearable compression, grip strengthening, finger stretching glove and called it MetaFlex.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, Tia, can you tell me, are there any similar products in the market right now? And if yes, how is MetaFlex different from them?
So our competition is divided into like three categories. No one's doing everything that we're doing. So there's compression gloves, there's grip strengthening equipment, like those spring-loaded strengtheners, or there's stretching equipment, which could also be used for strengthening. Some of it like TheraBand or like the putty that you squeeze or the stress balls that you squeeze. So stretching, strengthening, and compression have never been combined until MetaFlex, which kind of blew my mind when we were doing our research and developed this. Like, it's such a simple idea, but no one had made it before. So we patented it and took it to market and got it FDA registered and have been on the market for a few years and been helping a lot of people. So it was surprising that such a simple idea hadn't been done before, but MetaFlex really is the first and the only.
Great. So, Tia, can you walk us through your journey in the early prototype stage, the current final product, and is there any innovation or any integration that you're still working on?
Yeah, I've got a couple new versions coming out this year. So it started with identifying that need. People needed a way to manage arthritis at home and they needed it to be affordable. And my background's mechanical engineering, so I know a lot about product design and forces, and I know where to sew things and how things need to line up. And I really studied the anatomy of the hands when I was making MetaFlex to make sure that it was a natural hand movement and it's not moving things in ways that it didn't need to be moved. So I pretty immediately knew what the glove was going to look like, but I also have a bunch of different variations for people who like different features. So we've got two new versions, and I won't spill what's coming out because we've got a whole marketing strategy of when we announce these things. And thank God I finally was able to hire a marketer and really like brainstorm with her and figure out how we're launching these new products. But it came from talking to the customer, who's obviously like the most important person in the business, the person who's using the gloves. and figuring out what they needed and what they wanted and what they were struggling with. And so I found when talking to my customer that MetaFlex has more uses than I thought it would have. My grandma had really bad arthritis, and she's kind of like my passion and guiding light for making this because making a product is so difficult. But knowing how much it could improve her life, I had to do it. But when I was talking to her, she was saying, she also has problems waking up in the morning and her hands in a fist. So that poor circulation, so it's stiff and it's closed and it's difficult to open. You have to open it with your other hand. And so she would sleep. Her solution for herself was a tennis ball. She'd hold a tennis ball and put a sock over the top of her hand. So when she woke up, her hand would be more open than if she had not done that. But MetaFlex takes it a step further and has the circulation, so it's not going to be stiff. Like your circulation is going to be really good throughout the night. And the band for each finger can work to keep the hand open and extend the fingers. So you can sleep in the gloves and wake up and you're ready to go for the day. You're not waking up in pain, and that affects like your physical health, but also your mental health. Like if you're waking up and your hands are all tight and closed and they hurt, it makes it harder to, get up and get ready and do all of these things. So we do have new versions of the product, but also just the use cases have been so surprising.
Wonderful, wonderful. So you mentioned earlier it's very difficult to make such a product. What were the challenges that you went through to develop such a product or wearable devices?
Mostly it's money. Um, the great barrier to innovation is money. And a lot of people don't have the money that it takes to make these things happen. Like getting approval from the FDA. The FDA fee this year for a medical device establishment is $9,000, which is a fee every year, and it's gone up every year. So like the year before it was like 7,000 something, and then six, and then five. But it's going up every single year, and that's just to be an established medical device seller in the US. So it was that, it was the cost of all the patents. I mean, developing the product, like I've kind of known what we're gonna do, where we're gonna get it. Also finding the right manufacturer. So I planned to launch the product in 2022, but we didn't get it on market until 23 because the manufacturer I was working with didn't have all the FDA registrations I needed. And it took me months of research because I didn't have the money to pay a consultant to tell me what to do and how to do it. So I did my own research, which is fine with me. I have a background in engineering, so I like digging into things and figuring out like what are really the requirements. But it was the money to pay the fee, it was the money to pay for the patents, it was the money to buy my first lot of inventory, it was the money to spend in marketing. Money has been the great limiter in bringing Metaflex to market, and I think it's what is stopping a lot of people from bringing their innovations to market. And it's really a tragedy for the world that we have all of these people creating all of these amazing things that could change people's lives, and they're having so much trouble getting it to market.
So, Tia, do you feel the current version of the product, is it market ready? Is it market fit?
Yeah, 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 yeah. And it's fitting more of the market than I thought. So, like, I made it for arthritis, but it's helping people with carpal tunnel and Parkinson's disease and stroke and Dupuytren's contracture and trigger finger. And I recently brought on a hand therapist to the team as my chief clinical officer, and I am just so proud to have him on board. And he's got this big list of all of these hand conditions that I'm just now like learning the name to that Metaflex is helpful for. So, it is a product market fit, and we have more products coming out with different features that it addresses the same market, but just people with different preferences, because some people like different colors or, just like different little different features in the gloves. So we're definitely a fit, and we're working on fitting into these like little sub cultures within the
Wonderful.
products.
Tia, AI has been into, everybody's talking about AI and there are smart variables as well. So where do you see the trend is going? What is the next big disruption going to happen in the variable industry?
What is going to happen in the wearable industry? I think it's just more health tech, like MetaFlex, like you're seeing, we already have watches and rings and things that are measuring like the electrical signals and circulatory things that are happening in the body and giving people information. But I also think there's going to be wearables like MetaFlex that are improving strength and improving flexibility and improving circulation and all of these other things that are really important too. So I think wearables are the future of healthcare because again, it makes it easier to comply with your exercise regimens and these things that these healthcare providers want you to do. It makes it easier to comply with. So wearables themselves are the future. And with AI, I get asked a lot how we're using AI. And I want to caution people of using it too much for like things that you should do with your own brain and rather just using it as a time-saving tool and as a way to like streamline your operations because some of the processes you go through like podcasts. We're on a podcast right now, and one of my team members is going to take this podcast and put it into some AI, which can then make a transcript and write out everything. So that's just a
Yeah,
time saving. And then going through that and finding key points, that's just a time saving
absolutely.
way instead of using it like as a substitute for your brain because then you're not using those muscles and or those pathways and so they're not getting stronger and growing in themselves. So I want to caution people and say try to use AI as a time saving tool and not as like a supplement to your brain.
Wonderful. Tia, from inventor to a business leader and an entrepreneur, how was your transition? What changed your life?
Being an entrepreneur has changed my life. It's a journey of self-discovery and learning all of the things that I'm not good at and learning some things that I am good at, which I knew, but also yeah, you fail over and over again and I've learned to be more resilient and choosing to have a positive outlook on life because honestly, like high school was very easy for me. College was engineering school, but it wasn't that bad. Like, and then when I worked as an engineer, it was easy because it was just like, it was just process. I did process engineering. So I was just streamlining operations and writing down how to do things. And like my brain already connects these dots anyways. It's like a puzzle piece. Things I wasn't good at that I've had to learn, and I'm still like not the best. Sales, talking to people, because like I feel like I know I can read people really well, but it felt like manipulation to sell things to people, even though I know like this is helping them, this is gonna work. I had like this internal thing where I didn't want to ask people for money, which really limited me when it came to raising money, which I had to do because everything's so expensive. Like I was saying, like I have to buy product in bulk and bring it over. It's not something that's made here, and when the order comes in, we make it. It's got to be made somewhere else. So the whole asking people for money thing has been really difficult, but I got through it. Sales was difficult, but I got through it. Marketing, again, it felt like manipulation, but that's like a mindset switch that I've just had to make for myself. And I'm sure everybody has some different part that's more difficult for them just based on their culture and the way they were raised and the life experiences they've had. But that's been the most difficult part for me.
So, Tia, if you look back at your journey, what is the one thing that you could have done differently you would do now?
Well, I wish I would have known my first manufacturer didn't have all the registrations I needed, but we got through it. There's so many hurdles where I have fallen on my face, but I got through it. And I don't really know if I would like, I'd like to change it and streamline it and make everything faster. And there was a time where I approved samples too soon and I ended up having some defect inventory because there was a miscommunication. I think it was a miscommunication, but you know, I worked it out with my manufacturer and we have a really strong relationship. So getting through those difficulties is just part of the process. So I'd say to anyone, when you're failing, you're learning and it's a lesson, and don't shy away from it or feel like you're a failure because you did something wrong. You're not going to do every single thing right. It's life, and you're learning, and failure is just a part of the process. I mean, if Edison took like over 100 tries, right, to make like the light bulb, if he would have given up at any of those and thought himself a failure, then we wouldn't be as advanced as we are. Failure is part of the process, and I've learned to embrace it and shift my mindset from, oh, I failed, to I learned this. I've got this in my back pocket now, and I know how to navigate the situation going forward.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Tia, for joining our conversation today. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.